So good morning, everybody. Mr. So thank you for inviting me for this discussion or for this event for the PPE UK. This time, I would like to ask your apology that I might not or I cannot attend physically or cannot present physically to this event. So because of the short notice of the schedule, but let me try to share my views on how you should you should achieve or should help to achieve the Indonesia Emas or the golden time of Indonesia in celebrating the 100 years of our independence in 2045. So I've been thinking that in my lifetime, so what will happen by 2045? So it's been like another 20 years to come. So I might be alive or I might not be alive. And I believe Mr. Ambassador also feel the same. So both of us will exceed 80 years old when Indonesia Emas coming by 2045. So if we are still alive. However, if we are still alive, as relevant as we can do today. I believe that at the 80 plus, not many of us may also still relevant to the development or to the progress of the world at that time. So on that basis, so I would like to suggest my experience for you, how to achieve the Indonesia Emas. Not for me, right? So as I said, so by 2045, if I'm still here, so I will be around 82. So might not be as relevant. Number one, I will suggest that be useful for the public, be useful for the greater purpose in life, be useful for the greatest benefit for the public, for the nation, or for the humanity, whatever you want to choose. If I may choose, if I may change, or if I may get back to my youthful life, 20, 30, 40 years ago, I will choose to be as more useful to the humanity rather than to be useful for my own self. Why is that? So I came from a generation that was very proud to do the wild animal hunting. My generation was very proud doing the hunting of the tiger, hunting of the wild animals, and so maybe hunting of the elephant in Sumatra. But this is not relevant today. So if we believe that this is against the ecosystem of the environment, so we should not do it. We should not do it for whatever reasons, right? So that is the example that I would like to suggest that we need to be relevant. All of you, the young people have tried or have to try to be relevant for the public and for also for the humanity. Number two is about the environment. How to make this environment more livable for all of us. How to make it happen. My advice, please think carefully, please act carefully, and most of all, please give example by your own living standard or by your own living practice every day. I give you example. All of you, or many of you, living living in the UK, that for me it sounds strange. Many of the UK households and many of the UK buildings still using toilet papers in their toilets, which is wrong. Toilet papers, most of them always come from the woods. That means you have to cut the trees, right? Well, you can say, oh, well, this is not a wild trees or not a wild forest tree, but is a plantation tree. That is true. But you're still cutting the trees, right? Why not we change the toilet system into like water spray? I keep telling this thing to many of my friends, to many of my acquaintances in the Western world that you have to give example. If you want us to behave for the ecosystem, you have also to give example by your own living standards, right? If you go to Japan, if you go to Korea, and go to Hong Kong, many of them, or even go to Singapore and to Indonesia, yeah, use the toilet papers. So we save the woods. We save the woods. But then you say, so what if we work, I get subsidized or I get a scholarship from a toilet papers company? Well, it's your morality to decide. So it's up to you. Number three, my advice is that try to ask yourself about the morality that you are going to do from now on onwards. So lately, I joined a little bit of social media discussions on the LPDP, on the government-sponsored scholarship. So this is my view. This is my view of the morality. I have strongly urged and strongly restricted my children to apply scholarship. Why? Because I believe the scholarship should be for the young people or should be for the people who are financially less fortunate than me or than my family. So then people argue that, oh, well, we have paid taxes. So the scholarship, this government-sponsored scholarship should be for everybody. That is true. That is true. But morally, if you're affluent, if you can support yourself, you should not apply. Let our less fortunate fellow Indonesians to get the opportunity, not us. So don't be proud to get the scholarship. So at least in front of me. So I learned from another senior of mine who happened to be like 10 years in the cabinet or more. He also said to me that he restricted his children to apply for scholarship, which is, I think, it was a good gesture and it was a good deed for all of us. So I have suggested the three things. One, be useful, at least for humanity. If you can, do it for the nation, do it for the public, but most of all for the humanity. Number two, be sensitive to the ecosystem, to the environment. So we should not help to damage the environment, if possible. So we should not. We try our best to save the environment. I give you example. For the electric vehicle in Indonesia, I have not seen until today how we have how we mitigate to manage or to reprocess the waste of the battery in the near future. So the battery will be obsolete soon. The battery used in the EV will not last forever. Maybe it will last for 8 years by standard, or maybe 10 years. But after 10 years, so what will happen? You just throw it under to the seabed, or you just bury it, or whatever. So this thing has to be reconsidered also. I'm not blaming that the EV is more damaging to the environment. No. So it's a big debate. I have my own opinion for this, but we have to mitigate also how to save the environment, not for the sake of the immediate financial return or economic return. This is very important. So that's number two. Number three, once again, so it's about our morality. Whether we want to do it or should not do it, not only based on the regulation or on the based on the laws that are applying, but also based on our morality. So that is those three things that I suggest to all of you to embrace the Indonesia Emas, the golden time of Indonesia in the next 20 years. All of you, then you ask me whether, oh, Pak, so can any other tips as a leader and so on? First of all, I would like to suggest that leadership is a sacrifice. That is the very soul of a leadership issue by any standard, by any civilization. Leadership is a sacrifice. So if you want to sacrifice your life, you can be a leader. That's the prerequisite condition. Number two, what is the best practice of leadership? Is by giving example. That's the only best practice. If you cannot give example, you cannot be a good leader. So in the past, I was the one who restricts people smoking on the train. So at the time, I was a smoker. So I started to smoke when I was 16, and I stopped smoking when I reached 61 plus. So 45 years. But I was the one who made the ruling that restricts smoking on the railways, in most of the station premises and so on. But did I smoke when I took the train in Indonesia? The answer is no. Did I smoke on the train station? In the train station, the answer is no. So this is very important by giving example. Then, because I think it's not good for the environment, it is not good for other people. If I would like to damage myself, it is my own personal life or personal responsibility. So, but this is the example that you have to show when you lead. You have to show that whatever you say no to others, it has to also say no to yourself. So I'm not perfect as a leader, as a human being, as a citizen, as a son of the nation. No, I'm far from perfect, but at least I have tried my best. Well, was it good? I don't know, but at least, well, at least I got C or C plus. I cannot get A or B, but I've tried my best. So this is the thing that you have to consider if you become a leader, is that you have to try your best. And you have to sacrifice a lot. You have to. Either you have to sacrifice your time, your aspiration, your passion, or your personal life, but what you cannot sacrifice is your morality. And you cannot sacrifice the ecosystem. And you cannot sacrifice the public interest or the public importance beyond your own interest. Well, that's all from me. So I don't want to take more of your time. So I think it's been like around 15 minutes. Uh, I think that's enough. So I hope that Bapak Duta Besar or Mr. Ambassador would like to invite me again physically. So if you want, so he may also host uh, in the embassy maybe next week. So I'll be available by Tuesday or by Wednesday. So anytime, so just let me know, even in the evening. So if you're busy in the morning, so I'll be happy to have a long discussion, maybe 1 or 2 hours, the Q&A. So not a speech, but Q&A on how you want to know about specific items or specific issues and so on globally, as well as domestically, as much as I can. Thank you very much, and have a fruitful discussion by today. And please remember that many of you, have been living based on the generosity and based on the costs of the public and on the cost of your family and at the cost of this nature. So you have to pay back in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonan, for such an insightful and inspiring keynote speech about how to work towards the Indonesia Emas 2045 with doable actions that comes from ourselves, young people, to be useful for greater purpose and to be sensitive towards the environment, but also to be aware of how we act morally. That leadership is a sacrifice, and by giving example, we show one traits as a leader and to try our best. Now we would like to open the floor for question and answer. We'll take three questions. Okay, one, two. We have one, two, yeah. I will collect the question first, and I will deliver it towards Jonan. Yeah.
Thank you, Jonan, for your speech. My question is one of the also it's important change or like us patient is how to like how to create evidence-based policy for us here at capacity. But also I would like wondering how do you see the importance to be able to be in the power, to be in the system, to break through the status quo like from us here to have the opportunity to be in the system. That's the first.
No, hello, sorry. I cannot hear you.
I will collect the questions and deliver it
Okay.
to Jonan.
And the second question follow up to that. Once you're already in the system, like based on your experience, working in the national level company and also working as a minister in two departments. How do you see what is your best advice to keep the value that you have once you're already in the system and how to make the system can buy your value? Thank you.
Okay. So the question is, one of the element for change for the Indonesia Emas vision, as you believe, is to create evidence for evidence-based policy. So most of us have the capacity, and important to be able to be like, as you have experienced, with the experience in power in the system, being in the railway and having to hold being minister, how do you keep your values once being in the system, and how do you make the system buy your value, if that makes sense? Is that a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, so why do you ask this question?
Jangan kencang-kencang.
The reason from my concern, Jonan, like the gap of the idea, the idea and discussion. We have a lot of discussion like evidence-based policy making. We understand everything that we prove academic. We have also like discussed education. End of the day, most of the policy comes from the political will, and also the power influence a lot in the decision making and how policy implemented. Particularly in our case, is in Detroit. Yeah.
That's okay.
But yeah. Maybe that's the reason how to make those discussions come to the system. Maybe that's the question from me. What is your best advice, and then what we can do to break that? Then I think if it can be called a barrier or it can be called a challenge for us. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you already done.
Okay.
You break that. You go through that way.
Okay. So as students, we have discussed, engaged in meaningful discussions. But then the question is from you yourself, what is the greatest advice? Because at the end of the day, the idea and the execution, comes from the system itself to those in power. As you have already been in that position, what is your greatest advice?
Well, my greatest advice to you is you try to be yourself. That's number one. Number two, try to be beneficial for the greater purpose. So those two are very key. So I have no other advice. Because let me tell you one thing. When I grew up as a banker, my boss, when it was my boss told me around 25, 30 years ago, maybe you were even born. My boss, the Asia Pacific head of Citibank, said to me, remember, talk is cheap. For me, I still remember this thing in life. So if you like only to talk, you're just become a cheap person. So you will achieve not a greater purpose of what you can dream of. You have to execute. You have to be able to do something more benefit in real, not only talking. So this is very, very important. If you ask me, am I happy to be a policymaker? The answer is no. Because sometimes the policy itself cannot be implemented easily. So it's better for me to implement, to make it change, to make a change to real things, to real contribution for others. That is very key. If you list the top, maybe the top 100 richest men in the world, I'm afraid not many of them went to the education like what you are doing at the moment. This is what I'm afraid. And also, if you watch the top 100 most powerful human being on earth politically, maybe they will have less education compared to what you are having at the moment. So what does it mean? You tell me, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Does Mr. Trump go to the master's program like what you are doing? I'm afraid not. Does Mr. Putin go to the master's or PhD program like what you're doing at the moment? I'm afraid not. even President Zelensky as well, or the current UK Prime Minister. You can check yourself, right? So you have to ponder yourself. So you need to be able to move the needle. That's more important rather than discussing how to move the needle. I'm not saying education is not important, but education will give you sufficient knowledge and tool to move the needle, not only discussing the needle. I hope this will answer your question. Thank you. I will serve two other questions, then I need to go. Please.
Okay, one more. Thank you so much, Pa Jonan. Has it answered? Yeah. One more question.
Yeah. Thank you very much for to ask you two questions. So regarding the policy to increase the wage during the United chapter regarding to connect some noise right now in a system, the pay wage for the lecturer is pretty low. I mean, by increasing the wage of the student or student, could you believe that it will improve your information you graduates from one of the universities in the West. Survey about the toilet in your beach. The director say to you that it is enough or something like that. And then you person who will graduate from pretty much well because they quickly obvious. And the other is better. Okay, the other is better for that time. Have to take it with them. But you believe at the time to cut off this high profile person, believe the other person is maybe upgrade to the position. Thank you.
So the first question is regarding the policy to increase the wage at that time during your time in the railway. Right now, the wage in Indonesia is pretty low. How at that time could you believe that it could improve the Indonesian benefit? Is that the first question, correct? And you were the second question, you were concerning about the toilet in the rails. A director general said that it need more than 5 million rupiah, and then another one said that. Sorry, can you repeat the second one?
Yeah, the second one, I think from Ignasius.
Okay.
The universities
In Okay.
Okay, why?
Yeah.
This person.
Okay.
How at that time you believe the other person that graduate from not a really well-known university in Indonesia rather than your director general at that time? So that's the second.
Yeah. Well, so let me try to as much as I can. So the number one is the compensation is a factor of productivity. We have to accept this in the modern economic theory. Compensation is a factor of productivity, not a factor of other things. If you can make a better productivity, your compensation should have been improved or increased. That is also my understanding. So I encourage my fellow railwaysmen and women at that time to improve their productivity by implementing iron fist discipline. So I take no tolerance on the disciplines of timing and on the disciplines of the procedures because it's about safety of the passengers or of the customers of the railways. And I believe that when the productivity increase, the revenue of the company will increase. And it will translate into the improvement of the compensation of the public or and also of the railways people. I think if you, I give you example at the moment is that if you are a high school grad and you join the railways at the moment, if you are in the administration work or administrative work, so you might be compensated in total maybe like 25% or 30% above the minimum wage nationwide. So it's, well, it may vary from one region to another. So the railways will also follow. But I think they are compensated around 30%, around 30% or yeah, around 30% or 40% above the minimum wage. But if you join from the high school or alike, or from vocational high school, then working in the operations or in the technical works on the field or on the ground, I think you can be compensated like 50% above the minimum wage nationwide, which is very good. Because I also believe number two is that so people who are compensated well will work better. But we have to test. It is not a philosophy, it's a reality. If you graduate from university, so if you're working on the field of engineering or on the field of operation and so on, I believe you'll be compensated first year, maybe total compensation should be, I don't know, the the take home or the gross, if maybe like 500 to 700 pounds a month or something. So the administration work can be like a 10-20% less, I guess. But having said that, the compensation, as I said, is the factor of productivity. So if the high school grads can prove himself or herself to be more productive, they can be promoted higher and higher along the way. And they can supervise many graduates like you in the railways, even though they only have a high school diploma. So like the train drivers, on average, they're compensated maybe on the gross basis, I think around 1,000 pounds, I guess. Then you said, well, that's not big, but I said, yes, I agree. That's not big. Even 1,500, not big. But the living standard in Indonesia in average is only 1/5 that of the living standard of in the UK, or perhaps 1/6 or 1/7 that of the living standards in the center of London. So that's different. So that means if you receive like 1,000 pounds a month, so it will equal to like maybe 5,000 pounds. if you're living in the UK. So that's my first question. And my first answer, sorry. Well, second thing is that, well, my question to you that you need to ask yourself whether give you better tools and better knowledge for improving your productivity when you are about to join or when you are in the real world or in the working environment. So that is very important. In the railways, and I will answering the number two as well, with different perspective. In the railways, uh, during my time and even until today, since have I I left the railways by the end of 2014, so it was 11 years ago. In the railways, we believe that education is important, more important than the education itself. So, because life is reality, life is not philosophy only, but life is also a reality. So, if you ask me whether the director general or whatever, so for me, so whatever can produce the best solutions with the most effective cost is the winner. Do you think Elon Musk went to Imperial College or went to MIT? I don't know. So you need to tell me.
No.
Okay. Okay. So and I think Elon Musk did not go to Harvard Business School or to London Business School or any top business school in the world. I don't think so. So that's the reality we have to accept. So many great people, great persons in business and in the public sector have a very, very minimal education. So it is not specific for Indonesia, but it happens all over the world. It's the same. It's the same. So some people got great education, some people not, but many of them are not or were not. So my advice to you is, in the years to come, people will value your productivity or will value your uniqueness rather than your diploma. That is another reality we have to face. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonan, for taking the time to answer the questions, and for the participants who asked the question and to engage in that discussion. That compensation is a factor of productivity, and people will value productivity and uniqueness. Now we are going to the next session, and thank you so much for joining us from yeah online.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will continue to the next session, which is the essay competition video.
For your
Um,
Jonan. Thank you to Pak Jo.
and thank you to Pak Jonan for
Nggak usah.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Thank you Papa udah join
Yeah.
from Jakarta. From Jakarta. Dari
No,
Jakarta.
no, from-
Dari mana?
From the US.
Yeah, thank you.
Terima kasih Pak atas kehadirannya. Izin kami lanjutkan ke acara selanjutnya ya Pak.
Yeah.
Safe travels.
Dan Pak Agus dari depan.
I'm joining
Oh.
from Dijon. I'm joining from Dijon, France. Thank you.
Oh, we would like before
Ya.
we would like to take picture Pak with Pak Desra dan Pak
If you don't
Agus.
mind. Yep.
If you don't mind.
Kita
Kita akan
ambil foto dulu ya Pak sebentar.
Okay.
Oke. Untuk Pak Desra.
untuk Pak Desra dan Pak
Agus.
Agus bisa
Yaudah di sini atau?
Iya.
Iya. Mau gimana? Mau di situ apa di sini?
Oh,
Oke. Just the audience.
Oke.
Oke. Ini close this one. Oh ya. Bisa. Bisa. Oke. Okay, we're gonna take the picture now. Maaf. Sama HP ya. Pakai HP juga. Oke. Semuanya. 3, 2, 1. Cheers. Cheers. Okay, wait. One more. Bapak nih, bentar ya, biar Bapak masuk.
Iya. Senyum Pak.
Dari
Maaf Kak, ada kirain tim aku.
dari situ. Apa Kak? Oke. Ya, 1, 2, 3. Oke. Ya, Aulia. Sudah. Yang dari depan, dari depan. Udah, oke ya, 1, 2, 3. Oke, ya. Maaf ya, kasih apa? Oke, terima kasih. Terima kasih Pak Jonan atas
Thank you.
presentation-nya. Izin kami akhiri.
See you.
Terima kasih Pak
See you
Jonan.
next time. Bye-bye.